All right, back into our class called course. I want to talk a little bit more about properties and more specifically, access to the properties within your class. Take a look. So I've got my course class. This is the same one we left off with earlier. I'm going to go into the shell and I'm going to create a new instance of that class. And we'll call it Python for the course name. All right, now if I want to gain the functionality or the attributes of that class, I'll say C1 dot, and if you wait a moment, you get your little pop-up list, and now you've got access to everything that's been defined within that class. I've got the add students function, I've got the student count function, but I've also got access to its name property as well as the students property. Well, students, I don't want people messing with that because our function add underscore students does that for them. They shouldn't have access to it right there. Or how about name, right? We ask them for the name when they create a new instance of that class. Once they have signed the name, that's it, hands off, you're done, right? Maybe I want to get them access to getting the name, but I don't want them to be able to change that name right there. Well, in this case, we can mark some of the properties and or functions as private, meaning that when somebody creates an instance of a class, C1 dot, some of the functionality will be hidden from view. It's used back in the class internally, but it won't be used for the students or for whoever's working with it out here. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about marking some of the functionality, some of the attributes of a class, marking them as private. Take a look. All right, I'm going to deal with the name. So I want to turn this name property right here, I want to turn it into private. Can't have access to it. The way that you do that inside of Python, it's a little bit different than other languages out there. Here, it's all based on the name. Right in front of the name property there, I'm going to put 2 underscores. 1, 2. Now by doing that, it now marks that property as being private. So if I save that, I'm going to go ahead and rerun it. Let's create a new instance of course. This will be Python. There we go. Now if I do C1 dot, here's my little drop down, but I no longer have access to name. If I try to type dot name in here, I now get an error. No longer available for me. I can create the instance and I can name it at that point. That's a part of the initialize event, right? For that class, but I can't just get access to it right here. Now, if you wanted to give people access to changing the name later, you could then build another function inside of the class. Maybe call it get course name, get underscore course underscore name, and give them the ability to get the name there or change the name. Maybe it's called change underscore name, and they can change the name through the function rather than just directly to the property. But it's all based on the name. Underscore name of the property, that is now private.